Have you ever pondered over the ripple effects of a single impatient decision echoing through time? Let's delve into the enthralling saga of Genesis chapter 16, a story woven intricately within the fabric of ancient societal and cultural traditions. In this chapter, we meet Sarai, Abram's wife, who is unable to bear a child. Within a society where motherhood symbolized a woman's crowning glory, Sarai's infertility was a ceaseless cause of grief. Overwhelmed with desperation, she proposes her handmaid Hagar to Abram, with the intention that Hagar might become pregnant and birth a child in her stead. This was a norm in those days, a tradition that starkly contrasts with contemporary perceptions. However, this seemingly simple transaction carries the inception of a convoluted and lasting conflict. The impatient choice of Sarai initiates a domino effect that echoes for generations to come. This practical resolution unfortunately plants the roots of an intense discord. What happens when we try to take matters into our own hands instead of waiting for divine timing? Let's delve into this question by examining the tension that ensues between Sarai and Hagar, a tension that is sparked by Hagar's conception. In the heart of this conflict, we find raw human emotions at play, a complexity that is often overlooked. Sarai, feeling threatened by Hagar's ability to conceive, reacts with harshness. In her quest for control, Sarai deals with Hagar severely, a decision that ultimately drives Hagar to flee. This harsh treatment is a manifestation of Sarai's discontent, a feeling that is all too human and relatable. She wants to control the situation, to force it to align with her desires, her expectations, but in doing so, she only fuels the flame of conflict. And what of Hagar? She finds herself caught in the crossfire of this power struggle. Fearful and alone, Hagar chooses flight over fight. She embarks on a journey into the unknown, seeking refuge from the storm that has disrupted her life. This scene paints a vivid picture of the chaos that can ensue when we let our discontent dictate our actions. It shows us the danger of trying to manipulate a situation rather than patiently waiting for divine timing. In the midst of conflict and despair, we often find ourselves searching for refuge. But as we'll see in the next scene, even in our darkest moments, there is always a glimmer of hope. Can you imagine being alone, pregnant, and running away from a harsh mistress into the wilderness? Picture the scene. Hagar, Sarai's Egyptian maid, in a state of desperation, finds herself by a spring in the desert. Her situation seems hopeless until an angel of the Lord appears. This heavenly messenger doesn't merely offer consolation, he delivers a promise from the Almighty himself. The angel tells Hagar, "You will bear a son. You will call him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard your misery." Imagine her surprise, her relief, her awe. God, in his infinite wisdom and compassion, has not only seen her affliction, but has also promised her a future filled with descendants too numerous to count. What's more, the promise comes with a prophecy. Ishmael, her son, will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand against him. He will live in hostility towards all his brothers. It's a promise that carries a sense of destiny and a prophecy that foretells a life of conflict. This divine intervention gives Hagar the strength she needs to return to Sarai. She goes back not as a helpless maid, but as a woman carrying a promise from God. Her faith is renewed, her hope restored. Even in our darkest hours, divine intervention can bring us hope and courage to face our fears. What does the birth of a son to a servant woman mean in the grand scheme of biblical history? Let's delve into this. The birth of Ishmael, son of Abram and Hagar, is a pivotal moment that reverberates through time. Ishmael, born to a servant woman, was not just a child, but a symbol, a living testament to the impatient decisions made under the weight of despair. Different religions interpret this event in varied lights. In Judaism and Christianity, Ishmael is often seen as the progenitor of Arab nations, a significant figure, but not the child of promise. In contrast, Islamic tradition holds Ishmael in high regard, viewing him as a prophet and the ancestor of Muhammad. This event, seemingly a simple act of giving birth, was in fact the genesis of a lineage that has shaped the course of human history, influencing nations, cultures, and religions. As we close this chapter, we see how a single act of impatience can have far-reaching consequences.